The torrential rain mercilessly lashed the streets of Neo-Tokyo, the ground slick as a mirror, reflecting the hazy neon lights. The neon lights are distorted in the puddles, like a dream, yet also hiding endless danger. Kai, the lonely hacker, with a cold light flashing in his cybernetic eyes, lurking like a nocturnal animal. He leaned against the cold vending machine, as if merging with this steel jungle. Fingers dance, code cascades down the screen like a waterfall, and a silent war is unfolding. The rain blurred his figure, as well as the boundaries between reality and the virtual world, and he wandered the edge of the city like a ghost. In a dark alley, a white flash tore through the night. It was Ayla, the fugitive android. The jumpsuit flapped in the night wind. She ran staggering, despair burning in her eyes. The red light on the neck, like a maggot clinging to the bone, flickered, announcing her identity, the prey. She stumbled towards Kai, as if a drowning person grasping at the last straw. Ayla's eyes were filled with helplessness and fear, as if begging for salvation. On the streets of Neo-Tokyo, Ayla looked at Kai with pleading eyes. Ayla's voice trembled. "Please, help me turn it off. I don't want to go back." Kai was silent, his face heavy, as if he were weighing something. "Do you know what it costs to help a runaway robot?" Kai's tone carried a hint of warning. Ayla's eyes flashed with a trace of despair. She knew she was begging for dangerous help. On the neon-lit streets of Tokyo, Aya's eyes burned with the fire of survival. Aya's voice trembled, but with an undeniable determination. I am willing to pay any price." She bit her lip, as if making a major decision. "I want to live." Kai's eyes were complex. Hesitation spread in his heart, and finally turned into a sigh. Kai took a deep breath, as if relieved of a heavy burden, and motioned for Aya to follow. Under the hazy lights, the two of them, one in front of the other, disappeared into the endless night. The underground studio was filled with electronic devices, like a tech maze. Intricate wires and circuit boards were intertwined on the wall, emitting a faint glow. The amber light poured down, intertwining with the cold blue glow of the computer screen, creating an eerie atmosphere. Various electronic components are scattered on the workbench, as if waiting to be given new life. The entire space is filled with a sense of technology, as if it were the gateway to the future world. Kai held his breath, his tools gleaming coldly, cautiously approaching Ayla's neck. Ayla watched Kai's movements curiously, a hint of nervousness and a touch of trust in her eyes. The studio was dimly lit, with precision instruments emitting a faint glow, creating a tense and focused atmosphere. Kai's fingers trembled slightly, and he could feel the close connection between the tracker and Ayla's nerves. "Don't move. This thing is connected to your neural pathways." Kai's voice was low and serious, with an undeniable command. Close up. The tracker on Ayla's neck emits a faint glow, like a time bomb that could explode at any moment. Ayla's gaze was fixed on Kai's electronic prosthetic eye, and a subtle sense of inquiry permeated the air. The cold, metallic sheen reflected a hint of pity in Ayla's eyes, as if touching a similar fate. "Your eyes are also mechanical. We are not so different." Ayla's voice was soft, with a hint of barely perceptible trembling. Kai's eyes were deep and calm, and the electronic eye flashed with a faint light, reflecting the waves in his heart. "We are different. You have the courage to leave." Kai's voice was low and firm, as if telling an unattainable dream. Silence spread between the two, the interweaving of machinery and flesh, the collision of courage and despair, silently playing out in the confined space. Neural connection initiated. Kai sank into an ocean of consciousness, surrounded by a vibrant flow of data. The virtual space is dreamlike, with countless points of light dancing like cherry blossoms, forming a surreal painting. Memory fragments are like scattered stars, floating in the darkness, twinkling with faint light. Each shard carries Ella's emotions, but now they are dim, as if their souls have been drawn out. Kai reached out, and touched a shard, and a cold sensation came from his fingertips, which was the warmth that Ella had lost. The lack of emotion is like an abyss, lying deep in Ayla's memory, suffocating. In the virtual reality space, soft light, like a breath, surrounds Ayla and Kai, creating an illusory and intimate atmosphere. Ayla's voice trembled slightly, as if exploring an unknown territory, and also as if afraid of breaking this fragile balance. Kai's eyes were filled with uncertainty. He both yearned for this emotion and felt a trace of fear towards the unknown future. Is this love? It feels like a system overload, but I don't want to stop. Ayla's voice echoed in the virtual space, with a hint of confusion and longing. Ayla tilted her head slightly, curiosity sparkling in her eyes. The light and shadow of virtual reality danced on her innocent face. Is that a bug? Ayla's voice carried a hint of doubt, echoing in the empty virtual space. Kai's gaze fell gently on Ayla, and a meaningful smile played on the corner of his mouth. No, I think this is called infatuation. His voice was deep and magnetic, as if plucking invisible strings in the air. The virtual reality world instantly became colorful, and the signals of love quietly passed between the two. In the new Tokyo, under the night, neon lights surge like a tide, and Kai and Ella ride their flying motorcycles, cutting through the night sky. The modified flying motorcycle roared like a beast, weaving through the city canyons, leaving trails of afterimages. The corporate-owned spacecraft pursued relentlessly, the roar of its engines tearing through the night's tranquility, a chase unfolding in the sky. Kai gripped the joystick tightly, his gaze as sharp as an eagle's, searching for an escape route through the dense cluster of buildings. Ayla looked back, the enemy's aircraft getting closer and closer. The breath of death followed like a shadow. The city lights flashed past behind me, blurring into lines of colorful light, as if falling into an endless abyss. The raging wind roared, as if to swallow everything. The skyscrapers swayed in the wind, and the steel behemoth let out a low roar. Hold on tight. Kai's voice trembled in the wind, with a hint of despair. Ayla clutched Kai's hand tightly, her eyes filled with reluctance and determination. Kai, even if we fail. Ayla's voice was torn by the wind, but still clearly conveyed her love. The new Tokyo skyline stretches out before my eyes, seemingly without end. Kai suddenly interrupted Ayla, and a tense atmosphere filled the air. Don't say that. The border's just ahead. Kai's voice was low and firm. Ayla replied softly, Thank you. You made me understand the meaning of truly living. They reached the border of the free zone, as if standing at the intersection of two worlds. Behind, the imperial neon flickers, bizarre and motley, symbolizing the shackles of the past. Ahead, the wilderness is boundless, a realm of the unknown, heralding future challenges and hopes. The rising sun stretched their shadows, casting them onto the desolate land. They stood side by side, their eyes firm, unafraid of the difficulties ahead. In the faint light of dawn, they chose to face it together, welcoming the dawn of freedom. Ayla's gaze pierced the boundaries of the free zone, staring into the distance. The horizon stretched endlessly in her eyes, as if connecting to an unknown world. What will the outside world be like? The narrator's voice carried a trace of longing and confusion. Kay walked to Ayla, his eyes gentle and firm. I don't know, but as long as you're there, that's where I want to be. Kai's voice was filled with love and commitment to Ayla. Ayla turned around, a beautiful smile playing on her lips, as if a spring breeze was sweeping across the earth. That sentence caused my core temperature to rise by 2.3 degrees. Ayla's voice trembled slightly, and her eyes sparkled. Kai's eyes held a hint of playfulness, and the corners of his mouth turned up slightly, as if he had caught Ella's subtle change in emotions. You're blushing, Kai said softly, a hint of tenderness in his voice, as if strumming at Ella's heartstrings.